There is no video. There's no video intro for tonight. Let me just bring down my gain. There's no video intro for tonight. We're just going to read an actual article that CTV actually tweeted with a tweet that was not, I don't know if it was intended to be ironic, but it certainly came off as irony for anybody who has lived the last 3 years as a victim of the CTV News, among other Canadian media outlets, nonsense. The article, the tweet from CTV News, who has about as much introspection and self-reflection as a goldfish. Did the pandemic change the way we treat others? You notice how they say we and not you. We. We're all lumped together now. I am part of the sins of CTV News. That's how they lump me into their sin. Did the pandemic change the way we treat each other? We want to hear from you. Oh, you're going to hear from me, CTV News. You're going to hear from me. Trudeau's going to hear from me. CBC News is going to hear from me. As long as I have a breath and a voice. And the bigger the microphone, the better. You'll hear from me. Here's what I said to CTV News. You are literally the propagandist arm of evil. I don't wish ill on anyone, and there's no but to that, period. That said, when you go bankrupt, the world will be a better place. And I pulled up just a couple of highlights. Let me make sure that we're looking at the right stuff here. We are. Just a couple of headlines from CTV News. Did it change the way we treat each other? Quebec's not the first to tax the unvaccinated. Here's what other places have done. That's January 11, 2022, taxing the unvaccinated. Not a media holding the government's feet to the fire. It's a media acting as the propagandist arm of a tyrannical regime. In this case, François Legault, supreme leader, sunset thief. I'm glad I didn't spend $5,000 to buy a billboard to call him the tyrannical overlord during the last provincial elections, because I would have wasted $5,000. The tyrant actually picked up more seats. Leads you to believe that maybe Quebecers actually like this. Amazing. But that's one headline from CTV News. Another headline. Remember the question? Did COVID change the way we treated each other? Tightening rules for the unvaccinated is justified as health system struggles. Experts. Remember, it's not CTV News being evil. They're just quoting experts. They're just being the messenger of evil. What was that? January 11th? What was the last one? January 11, 2022. Oh, these were both January 11. Oh, what a coincidence. Let's go earlier, people. This is CTV News. People are reporting on their neighbors over COVID-19 concerns. They're not being biased. They're not saying that's terrible. They're not saying, that's crazy. There was actually, the follow-up to that was psychologists say why it's empowering for people in a pandemic to rat on their neighbors. You know what communists did? Ratted on their neighbors. You know what Pravda did? It encouraged people to rat on their neighbors, rat on their family. Oh no, there's one last one. I just took 5 minutes while I'm walking the dog to say, hey, CTV News, good question. Maybe look in a mirror, you pieces of rubbish. Being with unvaccinated people increases COVID-19 risk for those who are vaccinated. That's an amazing scientific observation if the vaccine works. All right, we're going to last on YouTube for about 5 minutes here. There was one other thing here. Let's go to the article itself. Just can't ignore that. Did the pandemic change the way we treat others? Yeah, it did. And you know why? Because you helped, CTV News. Oh, what's this? A cashier hands a bag to a customer. What the hell is that? Since the onset of COVID-19, Canadians have gone through many challenges. Ended because I'll have nothing to say but a bunch of swear words. I had a discussion with one of my brothers who I know loves me. All of my brothers love me. One of them said, you really think you should be swearing so much on the internet? I don't know. He's taken my dad's persona. You're swearing an awful lot these days, David. Yeah, you're damn right I'm swearing. I'm done. Look, I'll never be anything worse than impolite occasionally, but I'm going to be impolite when it's warranted. Did the COVID pandemic change the way we treat it? Yeah, you rubbish propagandist tools of an evil government. You did it. You normalized discrimination. You normalized intolerance. You normalized neighbors ratting on neighbors. You normalized coercion, human experimentation, and you normalized what would otherwise have been crimes against humanity. But for the fact that you are subsidized and financed by the very government you are now defending, supporting, and now just asking the questions. So, did we ever do that? But who knows? All right. Not going to hide the fact that I'm angry. Fucking angry. There's no question. I'm just going to make sure before we go on that we're live on Rumble, which we are, that we're live on Locals, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. We're lasting all of 5 minutes on YouTube for this. Oh, I just heard myself swear on Locals. During last night, I was talking with Barnes and I said, Barnes, I've never heard you drop an F-bomb. And he says, yeah, we've learned how the religious South has learned to swear without swearing. When they say God bless you or bless your heart, it means get effed. Now, I have not been brought up in the South. In fact, I was brought up not to swear either. Life has a way of teaching you lessons. What did Thomas Paine say? Time makes more converts than reason. I will swear, and if that's the worst thing I do in life, well, gosh darn it, I say I'm faring kind of well. Tonight we have Dan Hartman. You know him because he's been on at least twice. Multiple times we've been conversing on other platforms. I said I'll get upset multiple times tonight. It's going to happen. Dan Hartman is Sean Hartman's father. Sean Hartman died at 17 years of age, 33 years after being coerced into taking the Pfizer jab. Totally coincidental. I'm sure it has nothing to do with anything. The Canadian government said it was unrelated. Compels a father, a grieving father, having lost his only son, to his only child, to go and have to get independent medical experts to confirm that the death was, if not substantively contributed by, directly caused by, gets the confirmation after being denied the Vaccine Injury Support Program, the VISP. Abused, denigrated, besmirched, everything that you can imagine that a government would do to a citizen that would expose the corruption of the government has happened to Dan Hartman, above and beyond a tragedy that is immeasurable, inconsolable, and he's doing, as well as anybody can do under the circumstances. Denied Vaccine Injury Support Program, ignored, defamed, called an anti-vaxxer. I am thoroughly convinced there are Twitter accounts on Twitter that are government-subsidized bot accounts out there to harass him and try to shame him into silence, and he won't go silently into that night. He got an expert to confirm what many people already suspected. Now he's got a lawyer to sue the godforsaken government that did this, and that's where we're at. His lawyer, Omar Sheikh. I said I was going to not screw it up. It's Omar Sheikh. I'm looking to see. I see him in the backdrop. It's Sheikh. Okay. Who we had on for Sheila Annette Lewis. Another victim. It's not tyranny. It is tyranny, but look, those words have lost all meaning. Sheila Annette Lewis. You'll remember her. Was taken off the organ donor list because she refused to get jibby jabbed. Was silenced in her lawsuits against the doctors. Couldn't mention her organ that she needed. Couldn't mention the hospital. Couldn't mention the doctors because they were afraid the doctors would be the object of ridicule, scorn, and public hatred, which they might very well have been, and probably for good reason. She entered into a settlement after suing them for malpractice after her constitutional challenges got dismissed. She died. One of two Canadians who died because they were denied a transplant or taken off the list because they refused to submit to this experimental jab. So Omar Sheikh is representing Dan Hartman. Dan Hartman has been fighting a battle which I don't know that many people could. At some point, people just want to, not move on, but give up. Neither have done either. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to talk to Dan, we're going to talk to Omar, we're going to go through the lawsuit. I'm going to bring in Dan. Dan, you ready?
Yep.
Sir, let me do it like this. It's an idiotic question. How are you doing?
Not great. Last week was the 2-year anniversary of his death, and it was very rough. And it's just pain that is every day from morning till night. I can't stand it. I hate it. This shouldn't have happened, and I'm full of rage and sadness every damn day.
You're working as a truck driver. For those who don't know, you're working as a trucker now, still 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Since this happened.
Yeah, I only took 3 weeks off when Sean died, and I had to go back to work. The government doesn't pay you to stay home.
No, they don't pay you to stay at home, but they sure as hell tax you in every
Yeah.
respect possible. Um, for those who may not know, I mean, give in a nutshell the 30,000 foot overview who you are for those who may be meeting you for the first time.
My name is Dan Hartman, and my 17-year-old son, Sean, he played hockey his whole life. And to continue to play hockey, he had to have the vaccine. He took one Pfizer shot and was found dead on the floor beside his bed 33 days later.
You're divorced, and so there's some family stuff which for anyone who doubts your humanity can go back and watch it. You have a divorce. You're divorced from your wife. You didn't know that Sean had done this. You didn't
No,
know that within immediate proximity of the medical intervention, he was hospitalized. What happened in the days, or how shortly after the initial jab was he actually hospitalized for reasons that you only discovered after he had passed?
it was 4 days after his shot. He was rushed to emergency and he had brown circles around his eyes, vomiting, and a rash, and an extremely sore shoulder. The doctor there, in my opinion, failed to do his job. He didn't do any blood work whatsoever. No D-dimer test, no troponin test, looking for clots and heart damage. He just sent Sean home with Advil.
And let me clarify, they did not do any of those tests.
No, they
In the
did not.
medical records, which you subsequently discovered, they did have as a point of query, a point of inquiry, that he had been recently jabbed.
Yes, the doctor who saw him in emergency had a chance to comment in the autopsy, and he said, "Query vaccine injury." So he himself was asking the question.
And you sued the doctors or attempted to sue them for malpractice or file a complaint. Was it malpractice or was it a complaint?
It was a complaint to the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario.
And what
They
happened?
had a hearing. They had a hearing without me. I wasn't even invited, and they found him not guilty.
And okay, and uh, uh, Dan, I know you fight more with the trolls on the internet than you should. It's a difficult thing to just ignore them. Some people say, "How could you let your kid do this?" It was beyond your knowledge, or not. It was without your knowledge, and it was a kid who who you know either believed everything or succumbed to the pressure and said, "I just want to play hockey." This was when they were requiring jab proof in order to
Yeah,
enter hockey arenas and to play competitive sports as a teenager.
yeah. I had no idea he took it. In fact, I begged him not to take it. He was in my car one day, and I distinctly remember begging him, "Please, Sean, don't take this. I know you want to play hockey, but please wait." I told him, "Kids your age are dying." And I thought I got through to him, but I guess I didn't.
He passes. You file the vaccine injury. Uh, what is it? Vaccine injury support claim. How long after that was within the year?
Yeah. They denied me the first time. They said there's no proof that the vaccine killed Sean. I said to the woman on the phone, there's no proof it didn't. So how do you come up with that decision? So I've appealed it now, thanks to Dr. Ryan Cole, who proved that the vaccine did kill Sean. And now they refuse to answer my emails. I've emailed this lady once a week saying, what the hell's going on with my appeal? And she said, oh, we're looking for a pathologist. Okay, well, there's a few of them. Pick one. And they're not even responding to my emails for my appeal.
All right, and now finally, so just to get the overview for everybody, vaccine injury denies the claim. You file the appeal. They're not answering. I mean, you're undoubtedly on any number of lists. One of
Yeah,
which is do not reply to. And now you filed a suit against who we'll bring up Omar in like 30 seconds. Who did you file the suit against?
against Pfizer and Ontario Healthcare.
All right, and now is the time to cue your attorney. Omar, are you ready for this? I'm going to bring you in. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hold on, I don't like this format. I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to put myself on the bottom here. Omar, before we go over to Rumble exclusively, tell us who you are. We've met you before, but some of us might be meeting you for the first time. Who are you? What are you doing now with Dan? And where did you file this suit before we get into it after we end on YouTube and go over to Rumble?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on. My name is Omar Sheikh. I'm a lawyer with Sheikh Law out here in British Columbia. We got connected with Dan Hartman after hearing his story and what happened. We decided to start investigating independently, and we worked with Dr. Peter McCullough out of the States, reviewed Dr. Richard Cole's reports, and upon review, reached conclusions that it was more likely than not, in fact, very likely that the death occurred as a result of the COVID-19 vaccination, the Pfizer vaccination specifically. We then took the extraordinary step of pulling all of the actual clinical data from every Pfizer study and submission to Health Canada. And we found some very interesting things, which I can go into, but that led us to file two separate lawsuits. One is against the government of Canada, the Minister of Health specifically at the time, and Health Canada as a regulator. And then the other lawsuit is against Pfizer Canada, Pfizer US, and Biotech Germany, which is the manufacturer of the product.
Okay, excellent. Now, what we're going to do, just so we can have a free discussion about this, and then decide, whether or not I put this entire thing to YouTube tomorrow. We're going to end it on YouTube now. So everyone, just get over to Rumble. The link is pinned there, and I just shared it one more time. Under duress says, who's on first? Yeah, mildly. Okay, we're going to end this on YouTube. It doesn't change anything on our end, and we're just going to carry on with these